So I'll be kicking off this week's episode with my review of the new SV and Alyssa Jane record, Phily. Now, SV is a Boston producer and the co-founder of Jim's Pool Room Records, and Alyssa Jane is a rapper slash singer slash songwriter hailing from New England. Now, this record right here serves as both a follow-up to Alyssa's 2021 debut album, Grey Area, and SV's 2023 compilation project, My Cohizza, the latter of which I reviewed in text form on my blog. Now, in my review of that album, I stated that Alyssa was the stand-up performer, thanks to her diverse range in rapping and singing. She also displayed a willingness to wear her heart on her sleeve, even when she's going hard on solo cuts like Dopeness Right There, or collabs like Without You and The Tree, featuring Capo and Gage respectively. Going back to Alyssa's debut record, it's interesting and probably intentional that it bears the same name as the excellent 2019 album from British rapper slash singer Lil Sims. Not only was that album my official introduction to Lil Sims' work, but it presented a rapper unafraid to address her flaws and insecurities through engaging and relatable introspection, while showcasing her truly impressive lyrical dexterity. After the first few listens I gave Phily, I checked out Alyssa's Grey Area album, and from a production standpoint, I could see how her penchant for smooth, low-key beat selections fits so well with SV's moody, mid-tempo instrumentation. What's interesting about Phily is that it feels like a thematic expansion of Grey Area and a thematic slash sonic expansion of the SV and Alyssa Jane tracks off My Cohizza. Therefore, fans of Alyssa who were probably expecting her 2023 release singles like Kama Sutia and New PR to be packaged into a new album may have to wait a while longer. This is entirely an Alyssa and SV presentation, to the extent of having no guest features, not even from Jim's Pool Room Records. The album's rewording of the term neophilia, love or enthusiasm for what's new, and the juxtaposition of diurnal and nocturnal imagery in its cover art hint at the journey the listener is about to embark on. It's a journey where the new is right in front of us, but the old is not that far behind, and where light and dark coexist, both externally and internally. From the opening track and third single, Kerosene, SV and Alyssa establish the emotional grey areas the listener will experience on this journey. Though SV's beat on this track is smooth, wavy, and laid back, with some pleasantly jazzy horns and guitars in the mix, Alyssa wrestles with her own self-doubt, while presenting herself as unwavering in her pursuit towards greatness in her life and career. She accepts her imperfect self, but the only way for her to attain some level of perfection in her life is obviously to move forward. Performance-wise, Alyssa sounds so natural over SV's production, effortlessly switching between rapping, singing, and even vocalizing, as she does on the pre-hook after the first verse. Compared to SV's last instrumental, the production on the following track, Leave, sounds moodier, darker, and significantly hypnotic, with its synth keys, drums, and occasional embellishments of sax. It's as if something unnerving, an emotion or memory perhaps, is creeping into Alyssa's subconscious. Thematically and lyrically, this is one of the album's darkest moments, as Alyssa finds herself stuck in a particular rut in her life, desiring to leave everything behind in search for answers. Her emotional burdens get heavier on the next track, Pressed, where on the beat we get this odd, brief skipping effect on the drums during the non-vocal sections of the track. It's a subconsciously self-aware aspect of the song, as I saw it as a representation of how unclear Alyssa's life path is. I will confess though that during my first listen to this track, I swore some background process or whatever on my laptop was causing the song to stutter while I was playing it on Spotify. But Windows 10 annoyances aside, Pressed is easily one of the album's best songs. Yes, the beat is great, even with the skips, but it's Alyssa's vocal range that makes the song work. She embodies the emotional baggage she's dealing with at this point in the record through her vocals, whether it's a smoothly sung, catchy as hell hook, the slightly heightened expressiveness of her raps, or gradually aggressive post-chorus after the first verse. Up next is the album's second single, Trip on Me, which features this dreamy mix of R&B style drums, trap percussion, and retro 80s synths. As the title implies, somebody's emotionally tripping on Alyssa, a fan, a friend, a potential partner maybe. And as the superbly trippy animated music video suggests, she's taken this person on this psychedelic mental journey through her highs and lows. Once again, she's embracing her flawed, imperfect self, and in the context of this song, hopes that this visitor gains a deeper understanding of who she is before taking their friendship or relationship one step further. Speaking of relationships and tripping on people, there's the album's lead single, Down to Zero, where Alyssa raps and sings about not being able to get her ex out of her mind and wanting to rekindle their obviously fractured relationship. SV's instrumental perfectly fits the melancholy tone of the song with its somber piano keys and light snares and synth notes in the background. The hook is well thought out, as Alyssa flips the Ready or Not kids game into a heartfelt plea that not only will her ex be close by when she finishes her count from 10 to 0, but she'll be capable of finding him before he's considered lost. If I have one gripe with Down to Zero, I felt it deserved a second verse, given how exceptionally well written this song was. The album's final leg begins with How It's Made and If You've Been Bad, where Alyssa picks herself up from the lows she's been experiencing on this record thus far. The former track features a droning ambient beat laced with boom bap drums and a pitch-shifted vocal chop. Alyssa puts this beat to great use as she reduces her self-loathing and regains her confidence through some much-deserved self-affirmation. And throughout this song, she's boastful with her bars, vulnerable with her emotions, and grateful for the support she's received from her fans and loved ones during the mentally tumultuous times in her life. We then get what is, in my opinion, the best song on this record, If You've Been Bad. SV's production has a distinctively dramatic flair to it, as if I'm hearing a spacey boom-bap version of a spaghetti western theme composed by the late great Ennio Morricone, Kids Ask Your Parents. Alyssa delivers what is essentially a therapy session on wax, with these freestyle-like raps centered on how her music has helped her cope with her mental, emotional, and even spiritual loss over the years. The second verse shows a startling amount of growth on the record, as Alyssa mentions the recent support she gave to her father and acknowledges the creative medium of music as a true blessing in her life. And yet, near the end of the song, she shows awareness of how easy it is to slip back into the darkness, breaking hearts and burning bridges in the process. With the inspirational highs given by those two tracks, I guess it's fitting that Neo Phily concludes on a dour note with Slow Motion. I say guess because while a part of me wishes we got a brighter, optimistic ending to the record, with Alyssa's confidence back up and her life back on track, the reality is that, life itself doesn't play out like that. Try as we may, there will be moments of uncertainty, pain, and stress that will inevitably pop up after the moments of joy, happiness, and peace of mind. And I have to applaud Alyssa and SV for concluding their project with this harsh truth in mind. SV saves his most somber instrumental for last with a beat consisting of frail, disenchanted piano keys, amplified quite effectively by vinyl crackle. As the title suggests, Alyssa finds herself moving in slow motion, thanks to the creeping demon she's been addressing and fighting throughout the record. Like the equally distressing Down to Zero, this is another track where I felt a second verse was absolutely needed. With its near minute and 45-second runtime, making it the shortest track on the album, Slow Motion feels more like a to be continued than a the end. But maybe that's the point. It's not supposed to be the end of this neophilic journey. There'll be more pain and struggles to endure on this path, but there'll also be more blessings and achievements to be had on it as well. In other words, this Neo Phily story is still being written, and each page begins with one step forward. Overall, Neo Phily is yet another top quality album from Jim's Pool Room Records, and a thoroughly entertaining project from Alyssa Jane and SV. It's also a remarkably cohesive record thanks to the seamless blending of SV's mood-inducing instrumentals and Alyssa's reflective lyrics and heartfelt vocal performances. Creatively, the sky's the limit for these two, and I can't wait to hear what they put out next. So for me, I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. The album is out right now on neophily.com. That's neophily.com. You could also find it on Bandcamp and Spotify. And of course, you could follow Alyssa Jane, SV, and Jim's Pool Room on their respective channels. And show them some support, man. Show them some love. Buy the record, listen to the record, and feel free to share your thoughts on the record in the comments below. And that's pretty much it for my review of SV and Alyssa Jane's Neo Phily.